So Alfie Bendle, what a player kind of thing. Obviously, there was, I believe there was a few clubs interested in him. He ended up going to Wimbledon, and then you got him at yourselves, Corinthian-Casuals, for the season just gone. I suppose, just to start off, bit of fun. If you could describe him in 3 words, what words would you use for him?
3 words: grounded, hard-working. I suppose the third one would probably just have to be something simple like talented, mate. He's got an enormous amount of ability. He's got great vision. I know I'm going to do more than 3 words now, but you know, I think you'd struggle to sum him up in 3 words because you know you look at him and there isn't much he lacks. You know, for a 16-year-old to play step-free, you know, non-league football was pretty phenomenal. And when you looked at him from the first minute he went on the pitch, he never looked like a 16-year-old. He looked like a man out there. You know, he loves to tackle, but he's got a great range of passing. He scores goals. You know, you do think, well, you know, he's capable of anything as long as he keeps on the path he is, and obviously gets the right opportunities, which he'll need, like every player does. You know, I could see him playing, you know, top level football one day. You know, I really could.
Well, I think the 3 words you've chosen there, they've got quite a good mix because you spoke about talent and you spoke about being grounded. So it's like the attitude, the application, and obviously the ability to be able to do those things. I mean, especially the vision. I was watching some highlights of him. That assist he got against Kosh Hutton Athletic. You know, well, first of all,
the weight of pass was unreal. The weight of pass to kill a ball from your halfway line when their defence is near enough, just outside their own box, and it not go to the keeper and not get intercepted. I mean, it's one of them passes that, you know, you see it on the telly in top flight football, and they'd be going raving about it for weeks after. You know, it's a De Bruyne pass, and it's a pass that De Bruyne would play, and everyone would go, yeah, that's why he is what he is. And obviously, he ain't there yet. Although, obviously, our fans call him the casuals De Bruyne, or the total De Bruyne. They like calling him that. But yeah, I mean, he's got, like I said, he's got a bit of everything. But he's just come in with such a great attitude. You know, the kid just wants to play football. That's the main thing. You know, he's not thinking about. You know, he obviously wants to progress, but he's not thinking about when am I going to be in Wimbledon's first team, when am I going to get a move to a higher level club. He literally just wants to play on Saturday, and that's what's been most evident to me. He's just his desire for football, and you know, there's kind of like. It's so pure, you know. There's no, you know, non-league football. There's always people that want an extra 20 quid and, you know, want to get a move to a better club, and it kind of clouds the vision of why you play. But with him, he just wants football, you know, and it's that simple. And if he can't play, he's absolutely devastated, and I mean devastated. And he's just he's just desperate to get on the pitch and play. And that's not to be. You know, some players want to play because they want to show how good they are and they want to, you know, do fancy stuff. He just wants to play football, you know, and do his job and play the right way. And like I said, for 16, his maturity is quite unreal, and his understanding of the game is quite unreal. You know, there's, you know, 16 years old, I used to do youth football, and when you take them in at 16, you basically teach them the game from 16 to 18, 19 years old. You kind of teach them how to play football properly. But with him, I've given him tactical advice, given him jobs that I would need him to do or roles that I need him to fill. But I've not really had to correct him. He just gets on with it. And he's played wide for us. He's done a couple of games at wing back for us. He's played in the 10 for us, and he's played in a deeper midfield role for us. And for me to trust him to just go and do that as a 16-year-old, and him to do well in every one of them positions, I mean, I think it just shows that the understanding he has. You know, he's an exceptional talent. He really is.
No, definitely. That assist that we were just on about, I think my favourite thing about it is 99% of footballers will get that pass and try and lift it over the defender, and the cleverness because the weight of pass was fantastic, but I think he used the ground very well. He knew what the surface was like, and he put the perfect amount of power on it. And I think the second question I was going to say, and I think you've just alluded to it there, was, have you ever seen a 16, 17-year-old that good?
I mean, we had Jack Rudoni on loan, so we had Rudoni
right,
now.
Of course.
I think he's on the verge of winning Wimbledon's Player of the Year this year. I think he's a top goal scorer from left mid. So we had Rudy in, and when I watched Rudy play for the 23s at Wimbledon, I watched him for 15 minutes, and I said, I'll take him. I said, I'll take him for as long as you want me to give me him, because I could see that he just had it. But Alfie, I mean, Rudy, I think, was a year or two older than Alfie was when he came into us, but Rudy was a player, and I said, ultimately, I said, listen, he'll go back into Wimbledon's first team and be a top player there, and he has. Alfie Alfie's had the same impact, but he's a couple of years younger or a year younger, so he's got even more time on his side. So, you know, but Rudy's really the only one. I mean, we've had Elliot Bolton in as well on loan.
Yeah, I saw that.
And again, he's another super, you know, brilliantly talented player. Needs to fill out a bit, and he's where he is in terms of his development. But as a player, could go a long way. But for Alfie being his age, and having the impact he's had in men's football this year, and not just playing bits and pieces, not being like a 30 minutes off the bench, start a game, miss a game. I mean, he's been a first name in the 11 every time he's available. So he really has, you know, done really well.
Yeah, I mean, just watching him, and obviously you've just said there about how many positions he's played. Obviously he's picked up 6 goals this season, or 5 or 6 goals. I think there's so many players nowadays that come through an academy and they're drilled into playing a role, playing a system. I think certainly with Alfie, I get that bit of a Conor Gallagher vibe where he's just fantastic everywhere. So he will do every job. What would you say is his best position?
I'd say the 8. I'd say an 8 is his best position. I mean, whether he ends up being a 10, maybe a 10. I don't think so much a 4. I think you need to give him freedom. You need to let him. He makes great runs into the box, late runs. You know, he's kind of like almost like a Scholes, where he'll see a gap and he'll make a late run and he'll arrive at the right time, or a Lampard type where, you know, I mean, Lampard's probably the best one to describe him to. Whereas, you know, if you let him go, he'll pick and choose his runs great. He'll arrive at the right time, which is where he's got most of his goals this season have come from. And to be honest, he'll probably be disappointed that he hasn't had a few more. And I think that I think he was capable and is capable of hitting decent numbers from midfield. You know, I think if he scored 15 from midfield next season at our level, I don't expect him to be at our level next season, but if he was, I'd fully expect him to hit 15 goals. You know, from midfield. So I think the 8. I think, you know, he does the defensive side well. He's certainly not shy of the work. He'll put his, you know, he covers every blade. He put his foot in all over the pitch. But I think you need to give him that freedom. You need to give him that freedom to go and express himself, to go and create, go and score, go and be in positions where he can hurt teams, because he certainly has the vision to see a pass, and his technique of both feet in terms of shooting is literally, for a 16-year-old, I mean, I think he's just turned 17, but it's fantastic. You know, it really is beyond his age. You know, it's one of the ones, obviously I know Darren, and it's one of the ones you look at and you go, how's he ended up being, you know, not in the system? I know he went in the system, I know he came out of the system, and then I know he obviously ended up at Lewis and started enjoying his football again. But he's one of them ones you feel like he very nearly slipped through the net, which is unusual. You know, usually these boys of that level are snapped up at 10, 11, 12, don't come out of the system again. Do you know what I mean?
Well, especially that build and height.
What's that, mate?
Especially with academies, if, you know, there's someone who's standing out and they've got a good body build, then they are normally the first snatched up as well, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know what his development was physically like before I saw him. Obviously, this year, I don't know, maybe he was a bit small or a bit weak. I don't know. But sometimes them coming out and dropping into like a Lewis and doing their 18s football maybe there and kind of getting that, not grassroots, but getting that kind of that grounded experience. I think that when you go back into an academy at maybe 18 or into a first team like he's been with Wimbledon, I think it probably gives you a real true appreciation of the opportunity you're getting, where I think sometimes the boys, if they're there from the age of 9, they say, oh yeah, he's been at the club for 7, 8 years by the time he's done the 18s. And you kind of look at that and go, well, they've always been in the comfort zone of an environment that they know. And do they just take it for granted a bit? You know, do they go out a little bit more maybe than they should, because are they just too comfortable? Where I think that when you get an opportunity a bit later, you're hungry. You know, you've tasted football, you know, at a lower level. When you get an opportunity now at a good level, you know, you appreciate the training pitches, you appreciate the training kit, you appreciate the coaching. So I certainly think it's a good way for these younger players. And like I said, they do come in, you know, look at people like Mikel Antonio, and I mean, Vardy was in obviously non-league football for a long while, and you look at them and they do have kind of a rawness where they kind of have that desire that's sometimes a little bit more than some of the others around them.
Yeah.
So I certainly think Alfie has that. But I think he has that as a person. I mean, his dad's a very grounded, level-headed guy. You know, I'll say to him, Alfie, I thought Alfie was great today. Alfie will come out of the change room and he'll go, I thought you were shit. Do you know what I mean? And I'll go, well, it's maybe a bit harsh, but, you know, okay, fair enough. Like, I see what you're doing. But he ain't doing it to keep Alfie grounded. he's doing it because that's the way they are.
Yeah.
They're very, very down to earth, nice, normal people that obviously are supporting their son. And Alfie, he is repaying them. He's got great attitude, and I think as a parent, that's all you can ask for. As a manager, that's all you can ask for. Can the boy come in with a good attitude every time? And he does. And like I said, I back him to go a long way. That's for sure.
No, definitely. I mean, when I was younger, I was in and around like Darlington Academy, and there was a lot of parents that they were kind of living their dream through the child. And I think you need a parent that's just got a bit more common sense about them, just a bit more, just act like parents, stop living the dream. And I think that must help a player and a lad so much coming through the system. I mean, I was speaking to Ali Maxwell, EFL presenter for Sky Sports, and I think he went to one of your games recently, and I mentioned his name, and he said that he watched him, and the first thing he thought was he's kind of built like a young Wayne Rooney kind of thing. And I think obviously Wayne Rooney, he's went on to do what he's done. Obviously, we're not trying to compare him to Wayne Rooney at all. No. What would you say Alfie's ceiling is? What is the level he could get to?
Anywhere he wants to go. I mean, if I look at him compared with Rudoni, and Rudoni is an absolutely fabulous player. Like Rudoni, I couldn't speak high enough of. He's brilliant. He's a good player. He's one of the ones you go, there's nothing he can't do. And Alfie is another one of the ones where you look at him and think, there's nothing he can't do. So usually a player lacks in an area, and you say, yeah, he's good, very good, but he lacks this or that. Where with Alfie, Rudoni, they don't really lack anything. I mean, Rudoni's now being talked about Fulham, I think, of sniffing, and one or two clubs, and obviously Fulham have gone back to the Premier League. So realistically, if Rudoni is at them sort of levels, then Alfie, given the time and like I said, the right development at the right stages, like Rudoni got, there's no reason why in the future Alfie Bendle isn't a Premier League player, in my opinion. It's not just that talent. There's a million talented players. It's that talent alongside the dedication, alongside that groundedness to always want to do better, and a work rate that you ain't got to tell him to work. He turns up wanting to work, and I think that work combined with the talent that he obviously has, and just a natural ability which he obviously has. Like I said, there's no reason why he can't make it to the very top, in my opinion. But I also know how hard that is. Yeah. But in terms of making Wimbledon's first team, I'd put him in there tomorrow, and he wouldn't let you down. And that's as a 17-year-old. So
this goes on basically to what I'm saying. 27 games without a win for Wimbledon now. Yeah. It's one of those where they've got one chance on Saturday at home to Accrington. Obviously, they need 3 points. They need a bit of goal difference. It's kind of like a free hit in a way. And especially in the EFL, it just seems like one of them stories where it's written in the stars, where not just focused on Alfie, just in general, someone will get brought into the team late on into the season. I mean, I'm a Sunderland fan. About 6, 7 years ago, we had Connor Wickham. Couldn't get a game. Yeah. Came in, kept us up. Now, what I'm alluding to is you've got Luke McCormick, Anthony Hartigan, who for me are Wimbledon's best centre midfielders at the moment. Hartigan's been dropped in recent games. Could you see Alfie playing in a 3, playing in a 2? Should he be starting on Saturday, do you think? Do you think it's worth giving him that opportunity?
I think it'd be unfair for me to say who should and shouldn't be playing for Wimbledon.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
In recent weeks, so it would be outrageous for me to say, yeah, he's better than what they got. I don't know. The first thing manager will know. Obviously, I know Robbo well, the previous manager, and he was a massive believer in Alfie. But also understood that he was 16 years old. When you're on a losing streak like they've been on, turn into a boy that's just turned 17, it's either genius or it's madness, because you should have better senior pros at a football club like that. You should have players that are ahead of Alfie physically, ahead of him in terms of experience, ahead of him in terms of dealing with the pressure. To turn to a 16, 17-year-old and expect him to deal with all that and deliver. Listen, it would be a massive shout. Would I love to see it? Of course I would. Would I back him to do well? 100%. But it'd be wrong for me to say they should or shouldn't be doing it. I mean,
no, that's fair enough.
They had Dylan Hershey come off the bench for them at the weekend. Different position, but Dylan's played at our level all season. And if Dylan can come off the bench and they see that he's fit to do a bit for them, then Alfie Bendle 1,000,000% is. That's my feeling on it. But like I said, different positions, maybe asked to do different things. But could Alfie come off your bench for 20 minutes and get you a goal? 1,000,000%. Could he play 90 minutes and do a good job? 100%. So, you know, listen, they'll pick their team. They hopefully know what they've got there. Obviously, you know, like I haven't seen Wimbledon play, you know, this season. They haven't seen Alfie Bendle, or new manager hasn't seen Alfie Bendle play live this season other than training. Mm-hmm. So it would be a big shout to play him. But you, like you said, what's he got to lose? I mean, would I, you know, I'd love to see him on there. I'd love to see him on the bench. I'd love to see him get on a pitch. I think he deserves it. And like I said, it would not shock me if I read that he got 20 minutes and scored the winner. It would not shock me at all. I would go, yeah, okay, that's almost expected. And it would be a fairy tale ending to the season for him. If it kept him up or did some good for them, then that'd be even better. But yeah, I don't know, mate. Yeah, it'd be a big shout. But yeah, I would back him to do well. That's the long and short of it.
No, definitely. And obviously, you know, we spoke about one game on Saturday, but it's not as if Alfie's career is one game along. You know, you've got all next season as well, whether they'll be in League 2 or League 1. I'm sure I agree with yourself. You could definitely make that that step up to the Football League, and I suppose the future's his. The future's his, really. So no, that's been brilliant. Obviously, thanks for your time, and hopefully you have a good season next year as well at Corinthian-Casuals.
Yeah, I appreciate it, mate.